Well, it's summer vacation time. So by now, the justices, I'm sure, are off on their yachts and planes with the billionaires and fishing expeditions and the like. Harlan Crow has his yacht. I believe he has a new name for the yacht. Amicus Curiae, friend of the court. Put that right on the bow of the yacht and on the stern under the American flag. Amicus Curiae, what a wonderful name for a billionaire's yacht. I mean, that's the world we live in right now, where this court is very close to the super rich. We've had a number of decisions of this court over the past few years that benefit the very, very well-to-do and continue to disadvantage women, minorities, those with modest incomes, those who are struggling with student loans. Perhaps we can say this is just a coincidence. Think about affirmative action. We had affirmative action for racial minorities struck down yesterday, and yet affirmative action for the sons and daughters of the billionaires, the millionaires who give money to universities to buy entrance to the university. That's there. There's plenty of it. We've had that type of affirmative action for a long time. Nothing this court's going to do about it. This is a credibility crisis for the United States Supreme Court. The ethics situation is a mess. And I did work with Justice Alito and Chief Justice Roberts in preparing them for confirmation and looking at their records in the courts of appeals to make sure there were no conflicts of interest when I was in the Bush White House in 2006. I'm very saddened by what has happened with this court, where the Chief Justice is unwilling to appear before the Senate Judiciary Committee and explain what's going on. We have no accountability for this court. No external investigations of the court. We merely rely on the justices to follow the law on their own accord. It's not working. We have colleagues covering for colleagues. And this court has a credibility crisis, as I told the United States Senate in testimony last week, and we need to fix it.
Maya?
Put me in the amen corner. That's all I have to say. I mean, Richard Painter painted the picture. We have a court, as President Joe Biden said yesterday, is not normal, which was essentially a way of saying that a normal Supreme Court, one that is above ideology and about the law, follows its precedent. And not only follows its precedent, understands its critical role as a part of a constitutional order in a democracy that says we must have clean hands. And not only should our hands be clean, we should be able to demonstrate to the American public that we are owned by no one and controlled only by the Constitution and the rule of law. And in both these cases, what we have seen is not just in the case, the student loan case, as you pointed out, Ari, a straight up question about precedent, but also is about the recognition of the power of Congress. If you are being truly non-ideological and reading the text of the statute, you're saying Congress delegated authority to a secretary, to an agency, without regard of who was in the lead of it, and we are going to ignore that right now and substitute our own position of benefiting profit of a satellite, a for-profit corporation, because of the money it stood to lose versus the 26 million Americans who have struggled simply to get the access to opportunity we have said this country is built upon. And just like in the affirmative action case, have proven that really it's only about opportunity for some, and we will ignore our job to demonstrate and understand who victims are and how to define them. Because in the this quote unquote First Amendment case, and I know you too, Ari, think a lot about the First Amendment and care about it deeply. Let me just say this. Are you religiously free to say, I believe that my God, however I define that God and whatever I consider my religious views, has determined that Black people are inferior? And it is a violation of my religious belief to bake a cake or to put up a wedding website or to take a photograph of that same Black person? Because when my father was in ROTC as a Black man at University of Rhode Island, he had to drive to the South to serve his time in his country, and he could not stop at public accommodations to get served. And as a civil rights community, we will not stand by to allow anybody to say that because of who you love and who you choose to marry, anybody, business owner, private sector, gets to decide how to define whether or not you can be served because of their religious beliefs. Because the frank truth is our Constitution is supposed to balance all our rights. This is about power, it's about privilege, and it's not about the people.
Very frankly put and well put, and I appreciate the parallels because we're talking about what I mentioned at the top, precedent, history. What do we learn from that? I only have 30 seconds left, Richard, and I know you well enough to know that you do 2-3 minutes at a time, as I do, full disclosure. But your thought of how to fix anything with the ethics in the limited time we have left.
We need an inspector general in the Supreme Court, just like we have in the government agencies in the executive branch. We need a full-time ethics lawyer in the United States Supreme Court. The situation we have right now is a mess. We have justices who cannot even fill out their financial disclosure form and interpret the Ethics in Government Act of 1978 for themselves, and yet they are interpreting laws that apply to every single American. They interpreted the HEROES Act of 2003 to wipe out President Biden's student loan forgiveness program, whether they're right or wrong. If they can't even figure out their own financial disclosure forms and figure out the law there, why are they interpreting the United States Constitution and the federal statutes for the rest of America? This Supreme Court needs to clean up its act.
Also, a great contrast you draw there as we head into the weekend. I think this is important food for thought. We're staying on these stories. The scrutiny does matter. Richard Painter, Maya Wiley, thanks to both of you.